Consistency is not a strategy for getting noticed. It is the manufacturer's blueprint for transforming potential into permanent legacy. You see, the factory doesn't build a product and then wonder if it will work consistently. The consistency is engineered into the design from the beginning. And the moment you understand that your creator built repetition, faithfulness, and unwavering commitment into your very DNA, you'll stop treating consistency as a discipline. You must develop and start recognizing it as a design you must activate. Let me submit to you today that most people fail not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, not even because they lack resources. They fail because they never understood that greatness is not an event. It is a pattern. And patterns require consistency. I want to challenge your thinking right now because you've been lied to about what it takes to fulfill your assignment on this earth. Society has sold you the lottery ticket mentality, one big break, one viral moment, one lucky opportunity. And millions of people are sitting around waiting for their ship to come in, not realizing that the manufacturer never designed you to wait for ships. He designed you to build them, brick by brick, day by day, through the power of unwavering, relentless, undeniable consistency. The world is ignoring you not because you lack talent. They're ignoring you because you lack the one thing that transforms talent from potential into power: consistency. Here's what the culture won't tell you. They celebrate the championship game but ignore the 1,000 practices. They applaud the best-selling book but dismiss the daily writing sessions. They praise the successful business but overlook the years of failing forward. Why? Because consistency is not glamorous. Consistency doesn't make good television. Consistency doesn't go viral. But let me tell you what consistency does. It builds empires. It creates legacies. It transforms ordinary people into extraordinary forces that the world cannot ignore. The manufacturer knew this. That's why he designed the entire universe on the principle of consistency. The sun rises consistently. The seasons change consistently. Your heart beats consistently. Consistency is not just a good idea. It is the operating system of creation itself. Now, before we go further, I need to expose the lies that have kept you trapped in the cycle of starting and stopping, beginning and quitting, getting excited and getting discouraged. These lies are sophisticated. They don't come dressed as obvious deceptions. They come wrapped in reasonable excuses, justified by your circumstances, validated by your past failures. But a lie is still a lie, even when it sounds reasonable. Lie number one: I'm waiting for the right opportunity. No, you're not. You're waiting to feel ready, and that feeling will never come. The manufacturer doesn't send opportunity to the prepared. He sends opportunity to the consistent. You think you're being strategic by waiting. You're actually being disobedient to your design. Your design says build. Your fear says wait. And every day you wait, you're choosing fear's counsel over your manufacturer's blueprint. The right opportunity doesn't find you sitting still. It finds you moving consistently in the direction of your assignment. I've watched people wait their entire lives for the right time to start their business, write their book, launch their ministry, pursue their dream. And you know what happens? They die waiting. The graveyard is full of perfect plans that were never executed because someone was waiting for perfect conditions. But let me tell you something about the manufacturer's design. He specializes in using imperfect people in imperfect conditions to produce perfect results. But he needs one thing from you: consistent movement. The Red Sea didn't part while Israel was camping. It parted while they were moving toward it. Lie number two: I don't see results yet, so it must not be working. This is cemetery thinking. This is the mindset that fills graveyards with unfinished symphonies and unpublished books. You've been programmed by microwave culture to expect instant results, but the manufacturer operates on seed time and harvest principles. When a farmer plants a seed, he doesn't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. He waters it consistently, trusts the process, and waits for the manifestation. Your consistency is the watering. The growth is happening underground where you can't see it. And just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not working. The bamboo tree is watered for 5 years with no visible growth. Then in year 6, it grows 90 feet in 6 weeks. The question is not whether your consistency is working. The question is whether you'll keep watering when you see nothing happening above the surface. Most people quit in year 4. They were faithful. They were consistent. They did everything right. But they measured success by what they could see rather than trusting the process the manufacturer designed. And they walked away from their harvest right before it was about to break through the soil. Lie number 3: I'm just not naturally disciplined like successful people. This lie keeps more people trapped in mediocrity than any other. You've convinced yourself that consistency is a personality trait that some people have and others don't. That's nonsense. Consistency is not a personality trait, it is a choice. It is a decision you make every single day to honor your assignment regardless of how you feel. The manufacturer didn't give discipline to some and withhold it from others. He gave everyone the same capacity for choice. Successful people are not more disciplined than you. They simply made the decision that their assignment is more important than their comfort. They chose purpose over pleasure. They chose legacy over leisure. And they made that choice not once, but consistently, repeatedly, relentlessly, until consistency became their identity. You see, identity follows behavior. You don't act consistent because you are consistent. You become consistent because you act consistently. Stop waiting to feel like a disciplined person. Start behaving like one, and the identity will follow. Lie number 4, my circumstances are too difficult right now. Your circumstances are not your prison. They are your platform. Every giant you will ever kill, every breakthrough you will ever experience, every testimony you will ever share will come from difficult circumstances, not in spite of them. The manufacturer specializes in creating opportunity out of opposition. But here's what you must understand. He needs your consistency to convert the opposition into opportunity. When you're inconsistent, you abort the process. You quit right before the breakthrough. You give up during the storm that was designed to position you for the next level. Your difficult circumstances are not evidence that you're off track. They are evidence that you're right where the manufacturer needs you to be. But you must be consistent through them to extract the promotion that's hidden inside them. Joseph was consistent in prison. Daniel was consistent in the lion's den. David was consistent while running from Saul. Their consistency and difficulty became their credential for destiny. Lie number 5, I've already tried and failed before. Good. That means you have experience, not disqualification. The manufacturer never wastes anything. Your previous attempts were not failures. They were education. They were preparing you, training you, positioning you for this attempt. But here's where most people miss it. They allow past inconsistency to become an excuse for present inaction. I've tried to lose weight before and quit. I've tried to build a business and failed. I've tried to change and went back to old habits. So what? That was then. This is now. And the beauty of the manufacturer's design is that every day is a new opportunity to be consistent with your assignment. Your past does not define your potential. Your present choices do. Stop carrying yesterday's inconsistency into today's opportunity. Lie number 6, I need motivation to stay consistent. No, you don't. Motivation is what gets you started. Commitment is what keeps you going. And commitment is not a feeling. It's a decision backed by action. You will never feel like doing the hard things consistently. If you wait for motivation, you'll be inconsistent by default. The manufacturer didn't design you to operate on feelings. He designed you to operate on purpose. And purpose doesn't need permission from your emotions. It moves forward regardless. I don't feel like getting up every morning. I don't feel like writing when I'm tired. I don't feel like teaching when I'm discouraged. But my assignment doesn't care about my feelings. And neither should yours. Be consistent when you feel like it. Be consistent when you don't. That's when you know your commitment is real. Let me teach you something about the principle of accumulated advantage. This is a kingdom principle that most people never discover because they quit too early. Small, consistent actions create compound results. 1 degree doesn't look like much, but 1 degree sustained over time is the difference between water and steam, between solid and liquid, between ordinary and extraordinary. You think you need massive action. You don't. You need consistent action because consistency carries a multiplication factor that inconsistency can never access. When you do something once, you get 1 result. When you do it twice, you don't get 2 results. You get 3. When you do it 10 times consistently, you don't get 10 results. You get 100. This is the law of exponential returns, and it only activates through consistency. Let me show you how this works practically. If you read 10 pages of a book every single day, you'll read 3,650 pages in a year. That's approximately 12 books. 12 books will put you in the top 1% of readers in the world. Not because you did something spectacular, because you did something small consistently. If you save $10 a day, that's $3,650 a year. In 10 years, that's $36,500, not counting interest. A fortune built on pocket change through consistency. If you reach out to 1 new person in your industry every day, that's 365 new connections in a year. And just one of those connections could be the door to your next level. But you'll never know which one it is. So you must be consistent with all of them. Here's what the inconsistent person does. They read 50 pages one day, 0 pages for 2 weeks, then 100 pages, then nothing for a month. At the end of the year, they've read maybe 2 books and they wonder why they're not growing. They save $100 one week, spend it the next, save nothing for 3 months, then try to save $500 in 1 month. At the end of the year, they're still broke. They network intensely for a week, then go silent for months. And they wonder why opportunities aren't finding them. Inconsistent effort produces inconsistent results. But consistent effort, even when it seems small, produces exponential results over time. The manufacturer never creates without purpose, and he never assigns purpose without providing the capacity to fulfill it. But here's what most people miss. The capacity is unlocked through consistency. You have everything you need inside you right now to become everything you were designed to be. But potential without consistency is just cemetery material. Let me say that again because I need you to hear this. Potential without consistency is just cemetery material. The graveyard is full of people who had the same dreams you have, the same gifts you have, the same calling you have. But they lack the one ingredient that transforms potential into legacy: unwavering consistency. I need you to understand something about how the manufacturer designed you. You are not a product of random evolution. You are a custom design, manufactured with precision and released with purpose. And just like any manufacturer who creates a product, the creator didn't just make you and hope you'd figure it out. He built an instruction manual into your design. That manual says you were created to solve a problem, to answer a question, to fill a need. But here's the key: you don't solve problems occasionally. You don't answer questions randomly. You don't fill needs when you feel like it. You do it consistently. Because the world doesn't need another person with good intentions. The world needs someone they can count on, someone they can depend on, someone so consistent in their delivery that they become undeniable. Consider the oak tree. It starts as an acorn, small, insignificant, easy to ignore. But that acorn doesn't try to become an oak tree overnight. It doesn't panic because it's not growing fast enough. It doesn't quit when storms come. It consistently, daily, without fanfare, without applause, without recognition, draws nutrients from the soil, reaches toward the sun, and grows. Not in giant leaps, in tiny increments, day after day, year after year, until one day that insignificant acorn has become a mighty oak that provides shade for generations. It wasn't talent. It wasn't luck. It wasn't a big break. It was consistency encoded into its design by the manufacturer. And the same principle that governs the oak tree governs you. You don't need to become great overnight. You need to be faithful with small things consistently until they compound into something undeniable. Now let me tell you about a woman I encountered several years ago. She was working 3 jobs to make ends meet. Single mother, no college degree, living paycheck to paycheck. But this woman had a gift. She could bake. And not just bake, she could create with food. So she made a decision. Every single day after her 3rd job ended at midnight, she would go home and bake. Not when she felt inspired, not when she had extra time. Every single night. For the first year, she gave her baked goods away to neighbors, co-workers, friends for free. Building her skill, refining her recipes, creating consistency in her quality. Year 2, she started selling on weekends at a local market. Made maybe $50 a week. Most people would have quit. The effort didn't match the return. But she understood something about the manufacturer's design. You're not building a business. You're building a reputation. And reputation requires consistency. Year 3, a customer who had been buying from her every single weekend for 6 months owned a small cafe. Asked if she'd be willing to supply pastries. She said yes. That one consistent customer became her first wholesale account. Year 4, that cafe owner introduced her to 3 other cafe owners. Now she's supplying 4 locations. Year 5, she quit 2 of her 3 jobs. Year 7, she quit the 3rd job and opened her own bakery. Today, 10 years after she started baking at midnight, she owns 4 locations, employs 32 people, and generates millions in revenue annually. But here's what I need you to hear. There was no viral moment, no big break, no lottery ticket. Just a woman who decided that her assignment was more important than her exhaustion, who chose consistency over convenience, who refused to let circumstances abort her calling. And her consistency became so undeniable that the world had no choice but to make room for her. This is what I need you to understand. Your consistency in obscurity is preparing you for significance and visibility. The work you do when nobody's watching is building the platform for what they'll celebrate when everybody's looking. But most people abort this process. They're consistent for a week, a month, maybe even a year. Then they look around, see no applause, hear no recognition, feel no validation, and they quit. And the tragedy is they quit right before the breakthrough. right before the tipping point, right before the accumulation of all that consistent effort reaches critical mass and explodes into undeniable results. Let me give you the mathematics of breakthrough. Malcolm Gladwell researched this extensively. He found that masters in any field, music, sports, business, arts, all had one thing in common: 10,000 hours of consistent practice, not 10,000 hours spread randomly over a lifetime. 10,000 hours of focused, deliberate, consistent practice. That's roughly 3 hours a day for 10 years, or 6 hours a day for 5 years. The numbers can shift, but the principle doesn't. Mastery requires consistency over time, and mastery is what makes you undeniable. Anybody can be good occasionally. Only the consistent become great permanently. But here's where most people get confused. They think 10,000 hours means they should see proportional results along the way. 1,000 hours equals 10% results. 5,000 hours equals 50% results. That's not how it works. The manufacturer designed breakthrough on a different system. It's called the tipping point. You can be consistent for 9,000 hours and still look average, still feel ignored, still appear ordinary, but something is happening in the invisible realm. Your skill is sharpening. Your wisdom is deepening. Your capacity is expanding. Your reputation is building. And then somewhere between hour 9,000 and hour 10,000, breakthrough. Suddenly you're an overnight success that took 10 years to create. Suddenly doors open that were locked for a decade. Suddenly people want what you've been giving away for free. Not because you got lucky, because your consistency finally reached critical mass. The problem is most people quit at hour 5,000. They were halfway to breakthrough and didn't know it. They judged their progress by what they could see instead of trusting the manufacturer's process. And they walked away from their destiny because they couldn't endure the obscurity that consistency requires. Stop. Before I continue, I need to interrupt your thinking. Let me ask you something, and I need you to be honest. How many times have you started something with passion and quit when the passion faded? How many dreams have died in your graveyard of good intentions? How many times have you said, "This is my year," only to abandon the assignment by March? How many goals have you set that you didn't keep? How many promises have you made to yourself that you didn't honor? If something is stirring in you right now, if you feel that restlessness, that conviction, that discomfort, that's not condemnation. That's your potential banging on the door of your consciousness, screaming, "Let me out." The wealthiest place on earth is the graveyard. And if you're still listening to me, it's because you refuse to be buried there with your music still inside you. You refuse to die full of potential and empty of legacy. You refuse to let inconsistency rob you of your destiny one more day. But refusing is not enough. You must replace the old pattern with a new one. And that's what I want to show you now, how to move from understanding to activation. Because knowledge without action is decorated ignorance. You can know everything I'm teaching you and still die in the graveyard if you don't act on it. Stage one is wake up. You cannot change what you tolerate. You cannot fix what you deny. The first step is waking up to this truth. Where you are is not where you belong. Your current level of results is a direct reflection of your current level of consistency. Not your talent, not your connections, not your circumstances, your consistency. If you want different results, you don't need different opportunities. You need different habits. You need to wake up to the fact that you've been inconsistent with the very things that would produce the breakthrough you're praying for. You pray for promotion, but you're inconsistent with preparation. You pray for influence, but you're inconsistent with integrity. You pray for breakthrough, but you're inconsistent with the basics. You pray for wealth, but you're inconsistent with work. You pray for relationships, but you're inconsistent with reliability. Wake up. Your assignment is calling. Your potential is waiting. Your legacy is demanding that you stop making excuses and start making progress. I want you to do something right now. Think about the goal that matters most to you, the dream that won't leave you alone, the assignment that keeps resurfacing no matter how many times you bury it. Got it? Good. Now ask yourself this question. What is the one daily action that, if done consistently for 90 days, would move you significantly closer to that goal? Not 10 actions, one. Because here's what happens. People try to change everything at once and end up changing nothing permanently. They want to lose weight, so they overhaul their entire diet, join a gym, hire a trainer, buy supplements, and commit to working out 2 hours a day. By week 3, they're overwhelmed and quit. But what if you just committed to walking 30 minutes every single day? That's it. One simple, sustainable, consistent action. In 90 days, you'd have walked 2,700 minutes. That's 45 hours of movement. And your body, your mind, your discipline, your confidence would all be transformed. Not because you did something spectacular, because you did something small consistently. Stage 2 is remember. You're not trying to become consistent. You're trying to remember that consistency is already in your design. The manufacturer built rhythm into creation, day and night. Seasons, tides, your heartbeat, your breathing. Consistency is not foreign to you. It's foundational to you. You don't need to develop consistency. You need to activate it. Stop building an identity around your inconsistencies. I'm just not a morning person. I'm just not good with routines. I'm just not disciplined. Those are lies you've agreed with that contradict your original design. The manufacturer made you in his image, and he is the most consistent being in existence. Same yesterday, today, and forever. That consistency is in you. Remember it, claim it, activate it. Your body is already consistent without your conscious effort. Your heart beats approximately 100,000 times a day, every day. It doesn't take breaks. It doesn't wait for motivation. It doesn't need a pep talk. It just beats, because that's its design. Your lungs breathe approximately 20,000 times a day, consistently, faithfully, relentlessly. Your body knows how to be consistent. The question is, will your will align with your design? Will you bring the same consistency to your assignment that your body brings to keeping you alive? Stage 3 is decide. This is where most people fail. They understand, they agree, they even get excited, but they never decide. Decision is different from desire. Desire says, I wish. Decision says, I will. Desire is passive. Decision is active. Desire waits for feelings. Decision creates momentum. You must decide right now that your assignment is more important than your comfort, that your purpose is more valuable than your pleasure, that your legacy matters more than your leisure. And you must decide that you will be consistent with that assignment, regardless of how you feel, regardless of who's watching, regardless of how long it takes. The graveyard is full of people who desired success but never decided to do what success required. Don't be cemetery material. Decide. But let me be clear about what decision means. Decision is not just mental agreement. Decision is commitment backed by action. When you truly decide, you burn the ships. You remove the escape routes. You eliminate plan B, because plan B is the reason plan A never works. Plan B gives you permission to quit when it gets hard. Real decision says, this is non-negotiable. This will happen, and I will be consistent until it does. That's the level of commitment the manufacturer is looking for. Not wishful thinking, not good intentions. Unwavering decision backed by relentless consistency. Stage 4 is act. Start today, not tomorrow, not Monday, not next month, not after you finish this message. Today, right now, this moment. Identify one action that aligns with your assignment and do it. Then do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. Don't worry about the big vision right now. Don't stress about the 5-year plan. Just focus on today's assignment. What is the one thing you can do today that, if you did it consistently for the next 90 days, would completely transform your results? Find that thing. Then do it. Because here's what the manufacturer taught me. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And greatness is not a destination. It's a direction. And that direction is paved with the bricks of daily, unwavering, relentless consistency. Let me tell you about a principle I discovered studying the manufacturer's design. I call it the principle of the narrow gate. Most people want the wide path, the easy route, the comfortable journey. But the manufacturer says the path to life is narrow, not because he's cruel, because he's wise. The narrow path filters. It separates the committed from the curious, the dedicated from the distracted, the consistent from the casual. And here's the beauty. The narrow path is not hard because of what it requires. It's hard because of what it reveals. It reveals your character, your commitment, your willingness to be consistent when nobody's applauding. And that revelation is what qualifies you for the destiny waiting on the other side. When you commit to consistency, you're choosing the narrow path, and that path will test you. There will be days when you don't want to do it, days when you don't see results, days when you question if it's worth it, days when quitting seems reasonable. And this is where champions are made, not in the moments of inspiration, in the moments of decision. Will you be consistent today even though you don't feel like it? Will you honor your commitment today even though nobody's watching? Will you do the work today even though you don't see results? Because your answer to those questions determines whether you'll be celebrated tomorrow. You were not born to be mediocre. You were not born to be average. You were not born to blend in with the crowd. You were born to be consistent. You were born to be faithful. You were born to be unwavering. So that when others quit, you continue. When others give up, you push forward. When others make excuses, you make progress. When others wait for perfect conditions, you create with current conditions. When others seek permission, you execute your assignment. Stop asking, can I? Start declaring, I must. Stop saying maybe someday. Start saying starting today. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Start creating with your current conditions. Stop looking for permission. The manufacturer already authorized your assignment the day you were born. Stop waiting to feel ready. Readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision followed by consistent action. You are not an accident. You are not random. You are not a mistake. You are a solution to a problem. You are an answer to a question. You are an assignment from heaven to earth. And that assignment will not fulfill itself. It requires your consistent participation, your faithful execution, your unwavering commitment, your daily obedience, your relentless pursuit. The manufacturer didn't create you to be comfortable. He created you to be consistent. Comfort is the enemy of calling. Ease is the assassin of excellence. Convenience kills consistency. And if you're going to fulfill your assignment, you must be willing to be uncomfortable consistently, to be challenged consistently, to be stretched consistently, because growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. Transformation doesn't occur on easy street. Breakthrough doesn't come through convenience. Listen to me. I'm not speaking to who you are. I'm speaking to who you're becoming. I see it. Heaven sees it. The only one who doesn't see it yet is you. But something is shifting right now. You thought you were just someone trying to make it through life? Wrong. You are a kingdom citizen on a divine assignment. You believed your past disqualified you from greatness? Wrong. Your past was preparation for your purpose. You assumed you needed to wait until you felt ready? Wrong. Readiness comes through movement, not meditation. You convince yourself that consistency was for disciplined people and you're just not wired that way? Wrong. Consistency is in your DNA because the manufacturer built it into your design. Your birth was not an accident. It was strategic, calculated, deliberate. Heaven had a problem that only your unique design could solve. That's why you're different. That's why you never fit into society's boxes. That's why normal never satisfied you. That's why you feel restless when you're living below your design. That's why mediocrity makes you miserable. You were manufactured for impact. You were designed for influence. You were created for legacy. And I prophesy to you today, the graveyard will not have your potential. Your seeds will not die with you. The books you're supposed to write will be written. The business you're supposed to build will be built. The lives you're supposed to impact will be touched. The problems you're supposed to solve will be answered. The wealth you're supposed to generate will be created. The influence you're supposed to carry will be established. This is your hour. This is your moment. This is your season. What you've been carrying, it's time to birth it. What you've been hiding, it's time to release it. What you've been postponing, it's time to start it. What you've been inconsistent with, it's time to commit to it. What you've been waiting for, stop waiting. You have permission from the manufacturer. You have authority from heaven. You have assignment for earth. The Creator already said yes. Stop waiting for people to validate what God already authorized. Now, go and be so consistent they can't ignore you. Go and be so faithful to your assignment that the world has no choice but to make room for you. Go and be so unwavering in your commitment that your results speak louder than your words ever could. Go and be so relentless in your pursuit that quitting is not even an option your mind considers. Go and be so dedicated to your calling that comfort becomes foreign and consistency becomes natural. The world is not waiting for another talented person. Talent is common. The world is waiting for someone consistent with their talent, someone faithful with their gift, someone unwavering in their commitment, someone who shows up every single day, regardless of feelings, circumstances, recognition, or results. That's who becomes undeniable. That's who the world can't ignore. That's who the manufacturer uses to shift nations and transform generations. So what do you do now? Let me give you 4 clear instructions. Number 1, identify your one thing. What is the single most important action that aligns with your purpose? The thing that if you did it every day for 90 days would revolutionize your results? Write it down. Make it specific. Make it measurable. Make it daily. That's your consistency target. Not 5 things. 1 thing. Because the person who chases 2 rabbits catches none. Focus breeds mastery. Mastery requires consistency. Consistency demands focus. Pick one thing and commit to it completely. Number 2, remove negotiation. Stop debating with yourself every morning about whether you'll do it. Make the decision once and execute it daily. Your feelings are not the boss of your assignment. Your commitment is. Do it when you feel like it. Do it when you don't. Do it when it's convenient. Do it when it's hard. Do it when people are watching. Do it when nobody sees. Do it when results are obvious. Do it when results are invisible. Remove the negotiation and watch your results multiply. Because every time you negotiate with yourself, you weaken your commitment. Every time you make consistency optional, you train yourself that quitting is acceptable. Stop negotiating. Start executing. Number 3, track your consistency. What gets measured gets managed. Create a simple system to track your daily execution. A check mark on a calendar, a journal entry, a note on your phone, something that creates visual evidence of your faithfulness. Because on the days when you don't see external results, you need to see internal commitment. That visual proof of your consistency will carry you through the seasons when growth is happening underground. It will remind you that you're making progress even when you can't see breakthrough. It will give you evidence that you're not the same person you were 90 days ago, even if your circumstances haven't shifted yet. Track your consistency. Celebrate your faithfulness. Trust the process. Number 4, build a consistency community. You cannot fulfill your assignment in isolation. The manufacturer designed you for connection as much as consistency. Find people who are committed to their assignments. People who refuse to quit. People who understand that consistency is not negotiable and commit to encouraging each other, challenging each other, holding each other accountable. Because there will be days when your consistency wavers. Days when you need someone to remind you why you started. Days when you need someone to speak life into your vision when all you see is delay. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. Even the manufacturer operates in community. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. If the Godhead functions in community, so should you. You were not born to be a copy. You were born to be an original. And the world is waiting for what only you carry. Die empty. Leave nothing buried. Give earth everything heaven deposited inside you. Your consistency is not about proving yourself to people. It's about honoring the manufacturer who invested potential in you and trusted you with assignment. So be faithful to that trust. Be consistent with that calling. Be unwavering in that commitment until the world has no choice but to make room for you. Until they cannot ignore the results of your relentless faithfulness. Until your consistency becomes your legacy and your name becomes synonymous with unwavering excellence. The graveyard is waiting, but so is your destiny. And the difference between the two is the choice you make today to be consistent tomorrow and every day after that. Now go build something that outlasts you. Go create something that impacts generations. Go solve the problem you were born to answer. Go write the book that's been buried in your spirit. Go start the business that's been waiting in your imagination. Go touch the lives that are depending on your obedience. Go be so consistent they can't ignore you. Your time is now. Your moment is here. Your assignment is calling. Now go and fulfill it with unwavering, relentless, undeniable consistency.